tell me if this sounds like something that business people would understand. So the idea, so normally when you have normally you can do things in-house, uh, or you can buy services from somebody else. Normally, when you're buying services, right as you start a company, right as you're getting online, it accelerates the beginning of your sales. It accelerates your start to actually selling your product. But you pay for that both, financially, you're paying for it, but also you're paying for it in terms of future flexibility, in terms of what you're able to do later on. The idea here is to accelerate while maintaining your flexibility for what you can build in-house later on.
Okay, so when you say flexibility, vague term, accelerate,
Okay.
in what capacity, by how much money is it going to save, how much time is it going to save?
Like typically it can take months to build an e-commerce solution. Skip those months, go straight to sales.
So my first thought would be, if I need to do an e-commerce solution, why don't I'll just use Shopify?
Yeah.
And if that's the first thing that the person says, you
And
need to be able to articulate what would
what
be
the challenges are exactly, and then exactly what flexibility you lose as you go to Shopify, and then say, but you don't have
they
the
don't care. They
problems.
won't. I don't think most
They
business
won't
people are
care.
even going to understand that. You need to say, you need to identify the problem that they're gonna. That you need to
Yeah.
identify the problem they're gonna have, and you need to try to be sure or figure out who specifically is going to be the person having that problem. So, for
Yeah.
example, if you're going to have that problem, if you're in this particular situation, this particular person who's doing this kind of thing, and what you're going to run into is a situation where if your development team is trying to do X, that it's going to take them 3 to 6 months to try to do this because Shopify is their API and their system is not flexible enough. And
Well,
if you use this system in what I'm planning, that 3 to 6 months will take you 3 days, and you won't. And so the development cost of, if you have 5 engineers or developers and you're spending $15,000 to $20,000, I don't know if I'm taking
yeah,
an
let's
arbitrary
make up
number,
numbers.
three to
But
six months for an imperfect integration that with this will take you 3 days or 7 days, and then it will just work.
just cut 3 months,
That's
or just cut 3 months off your pre-sales time. Yeah.
and even that
Uh,
might not be a big enough value proposition, because what are the other downsides of yours compared to Shopify? Well, it probably has a lot less integrations because Shopify is so big, it has many integrations. So you have to say, are there any ongoing or maintenance related things? Is this going to save them $50,000 a year for some reason? And if so, you need to show that visually so that they can actually see it.
yeah. Yeah. So I'd have to give use cases like, for example, if you're trying to link your marketing to your sales, which is actually where I ran into this initially, where I was trying to say what marketing channels were useful. What was the cost benefits analysis? I was trying to do cost benefit on marketing, and I tried to link where people heard about the product to how much they were the lifetime value of the customer, and I couldn't do that because it was very, very difficult to even try to do that with Shopify or with Amazon.
So what you need to do is you need to find a way to articulate that, and you need to do it visually, and you need to frame everything that you're doing in non-technical ways. Even if you're doing it to a CTO who can understand
Yeah,
the technical, the
but you have
better
to do
you
it
can.
non-technical ways because the person who's finally making the decision is thinking in terms of money, not in terms of but if we have a table like this in this database, and we no just yeah.
So yes, but it's not just that. It's if you can. Let's say you're talking to the CTO, and let's say that they're a partner in the business, then it will still take them time to understand the technical side. But if you can present something in business terms where they
It's going
understand
to
how
be
it's going to
understood instantly. Yeah.
in simple terms, how it's going to affect the company, how much money they're going to make, how much money they're going to not lose, or how much time they're going to save and why, and so on, then they'll be more receptive to
Yeah.
understanding the details. But if you just go into, here's what it's going to do, I recommend you
Yeah.
watch the video by Simon Sinek, which has
Send me a link. I'll check it out later.
yeah. So what he does is he describes how people purchase things where you need to address the why and what people normally do is there's the what and there's the how, what something does, how it does it, and why. And the why is why Apple, for example, does such a great job, because they get straight to the why of why
They
people care
understand.
about it.
Yeah, they understand the value proposition. They understand what is. Yeah. So so I'm building out right now. Actually, I'm typing while we do this. I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
But I'm also putting together things like examples like marketing cost benefit, linking into your logistics and supply chain, linking into your whatever other management tools you have.
Yep. That yes.
And that's the sort of integrations I'm talking about. And linking into and SaaS, just linking into your actual software that you're offering as a service.
Yep. Just try to put everything in terms of what's it costing them without this, so that like you need to highlight their pain point that they have, that they might not know that they have, but they might know that they have it. And you need to differentiate it between how your thing would be better
as opposed to what would happen with
Shopify, which is known, which is people
trusted, and is good.
It's good. So and especially if it's good, you need to have a really, really solid value proposition of how your thing is so much better that it's worth not going with the thing that is known, trusted, and good to go with yours instead.
It's to the point where I would have to say flat out, look, for a lot of people, they're gonna be better because they're good.
But it's not a matter of a lot of people.
It's a matter of this guy. Yeah.
You need a niche. You need to niche it. And if your value proposition is not good enough to compete with all the positives of Shopify, then you probably shouldn't do it at all to begin with, because you're going to spend you're going to waste a lot of time getting nowhere. But if you can pinpoint that and you can frame it in a way that makes sense, you could have a viability option there. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So
any other questions?
When it comes to requirements gathering, first requirement is a way to fucking pitch it.
So yes, what you want to do there is I would
put together a way to pitch it.
Put together a way to pitch it. And what I would do, which doesn't mean that this is the best thing, it's the thing that comes to mind at the moment because it's frame of reference, because I don't know all the specifics, and I would have to pitch really deep
and look at the feedback.
Like, in order to really understand this, to really know how to pitch the value proposition, I would have to go really deeply, spend hours going into the technical side, and figure that out, which is not happening here. But
neither of us have the time for that.
But you need to map it to something they can understand, Shopify, and then map it to a problem for a specific use case, a specific kind of person that person is, the problem that person is having, and you need to show them how much that problem is costing them in time and money, and how your thing is going to save them time, money, stress, headaches, whatever it's going to be. And then you test it out and see how people respond to that.
Yeah.
Good.
Sounds good.
Cool.